The Baltimore Ravens are moving through their head coach search with a pace that is equal parts methodical and intriguing, and it seems like the process is entering its next stage. Reports started surfacing late into Monday night about the second round of interviews, giving fans their first real glimpse of who might be stepping into the building. For the vacant head coach position, the coaching carousel across the NFL is spinning quickly, with a couple of other openings already being filled recently, which naturally narrows the pool of candidates available for Baltimore. It is a complex, fast-moving situation. But now we finally have some clarity about which names the Ravens are seriously considering. First on the docket for a second interview is Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Weaver has strong ties to Baltimore, having spent time with the Ravens both as a player and as a coach. And now he returns to the city to be evaluated for the head coaching role. He has head coaching experience from his time with the Houston Texans, although that tenure had its challenges. Despite that, his leadership qualities are notable, and his defensive mind is respected across the league. There's no denying that he can energize and motivate his players, and he brings a level of familiarity that could appeal to the Ravens management, especially considering the connection to John Harbaugh. While some fans might not consider him their top choice, the decision to bring Weaver in for a second interview makes sense given his experience and ties to the organization. On the offensive side, the Ravens surprised some by bringing back Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, for a second interview. This came after the Bills parted ways with their head coach, leaving the staff available and sparking league-wide interest. Brady's offensive system has been productive in Buffalo, largely thanks to Josh Allen's exceptional talent. But opinions on Brady are mixed. While he is undeniably a bright offensive mind, some question his adaptability and play calling in critical moments. Observers recall specific instances, such as a key trick play in a matchup against Baltimore last season, where his decisions seemed to backfire, highlighting concerns about consistency and situational awareness for a Ravens offense looking to maximize Lamar Jackson without overburdening him. These uncertainties weigh heavily in evaluating Brady as a potential head coach. Comparing the two candidates, Weaver seems to offer more stability on the defensive side and a known leadership style, whereas Brady brings offensive creativity but with more questions surrounding his approach in high-pressure situations. For the Ravens, the goal appears to be finding a candidate who can elevate the team across the board, rather than relying on a single superstar player to carry the team. This consideration is crucial when evaluating how either candidate might fit into the Ravens' overall strategic vision, particularly on offense. While a strong passing game is important, the team also needs a balanced approach that doesn't leave Lamar Jackson in a position where he has to be the sole engine of the offense. Looking back at Weaver's performance in Miami, the results have been a mixed bag. The 2025 season was difficult for the Dolphins due to injuries and roster changes, including key trades that impacted the defensive unit. However, his first year with Miami was impressive, with the team finishing in the top 10 in pass defense and near the middle of the pack in rush defense. Players like Zaxker, Chop Robinson, Clay Canwell, and Emmanuel Ogbah contributed significantly, and Weaver's ability to integrate talent and develop a young roster is evident. Even with some statistical struggles this year, his coaching acumen and ability to adapt in challenging circumstances are valuable assets for Baltimore. That familiarity and leadership could prove decisive in a head coaching decision. Meanwhile, Brady's credentials are solid on paper. Buffalo's offense has been among the league's best under his guidance, ranking highly in rushing, passing, and points per game. Yet, football is as much about feel and situational judgment as it is about statistics. And in that regard, Brady's track record is somewhat uneven. There are plays and decisions that raise questions, especially when comparing his system in Buffalo to the personnel and style in Baltimore. The Ravens need a head coach who can expand the offense intelligently, rather than leaning on Lamar Jackson to make spectacular plays repeatedly. This is a major factor in evaluating whether an offensive-minded candidate like Brady aligns with the team's goals. Beyond Weaver and Brady, the Ravens have explored other names, including Anthony Campanelli, the defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Campanelli's track record is impressive, with Jacksonville's defense ranking among the league's best in both run and pass defense and excelling in creating turnovers. At 43, he brings a combination of youth, experience, and versatility, having coached both at the college level and in the NFL. While he only has 1 year of play calling experience, that exposure provides some assurance of his readiness to step into a more prominent role for Baltimore. Exploring options like Campanelli demonstrates a commitment to leaving no stone unturned, considering both established and emerging talent. As the coaching search continues, the Ravens are also navigating the impact of other NFL moves. Robert Saleh, another candidate, is reportedly finalizing a deal with the Tennessee Titans, further reducing the pool of available coaches. At the same time, there are candidates who remain under consideration but are involved in championship games or other commitments, which delays potential interviews. This methodical pace may frustrate some fans, but it reflects a careful approach designed to ensure the right hire. Rather than rushing the process, the Ravens are prioritizing thorough evaluation, considering every viable option and weighing leadership, scheme fit, and long-term potential in their decision-making. In the broader context of the league, the head coaching market is dynamic, with teams filling positions rapidly and others adjusting their rosters and staff. Baltimore's strategy appears to focus on balancing offense and defense, leadership and innovation, while also considering existing connections to the franchise, familiarity with John Harbaugh's system, relationships with current players, and prior experience in Baltimore all factor into these decisions. The organization is navigating a complex chessboard, weighing immediate needs against long-term vision, and evaluating each candidate for their ability to elevate the team beyond what it has accomplished in recent seasons. In summary, the Ravens' second round of interviews highlights the multifaceted nature of their search. Weaver and Brady represent contrasting approaches: defensive stability versus offensive innovation, while candidates like Campanelli offer a hybrid of experience and fresh perspective. Saleh's departure to Tennessee underscores the competitive environment for coaching talent, and the Ravens' deliberate pace reflects a commitment to making the right decision. As fans watch the process unfold, it becomes clear that this search is about more than filling a vacancy. It is about shaping the future of the franchise, balancing immediate impact with strategic planning, and ultimately selecting a leader who can guide the Ravens to sustained success. As the coaching search keeps unfolding, the reality around the league is starting to reshape Baltimore's options in real time. More vacancies are being filled, and with each announcement, the margin for error gets smaller. That does not necessarily mean the Ravens are falling behind. In many ways, it actually puts them in a position of leverage, because not every candidate is going to land a head coaching job elsewhere. Baltimore can afford to be patient, and so far, that patience has been evident in how wide they have cast the net and how deliberate each step has been. One of the more notable developments is the exit of Robert Saleh from the Ravens' list of potential candidates, with reports pointing toward him finalizing a deal elsewhere. That door appears closed. Saleh brought a reputation as a strong leader and culture builder, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and his work in San Francisco showed an ability to keep a unit competitive, even when injuries mounted. While he may not have been the top choice for everyone, he represented a safe and respected option, and his departure highlights just how quickly this market is moving. At the same time, Baltimore continues to explore less obvious but increasingly intriguing names. Anthony Campanelli has quietly emerged as one of those candidates who sparks curiosity. The more you dig into his resume, his work with Jacksonville's defense stands out, especially when you look how consistently that unit performed across the season. They were among the best in limiting opponents on the ground and through the air, and they were exceptional at forcing turnovers. That kind of production is not accidental, and it reflects a coordinator who understands how to put players in position to succeed and how to build a system that emphasizes discipline and aggression. Campanelli's age and background also make him an interesting case study for Baltimore. At 43, he is young enough to bring energy and modern ideas, but experienced enough to have coached at multiple levels and handled different locker rooms. His single year of play-calling experience might give some pause, but it also shows a willingness to take on responsibility rather than shy away from it. For a team like the Ravens, which values adaptability and long-term vision, that combination could be appealing, especially if paired with the right staff around him. The broader issue for Baltimore is timing. Several candidates who might be high on their internal board are still unavailable due to ongoing playoff commitments. Coaches involved in conference championship games cannot be interviewed yet, which means the Ravens are operating into phases. There is the current phase, where they speak with available candidates and gather information, and then there is the next phase, when the pool potentially expands once those games conclude. This reality makes the early interviews even more important, because they help clarify what qualities the organization truly prioritizes before the final decisions are made. This approach also explains why Baltimore appears comfortable bringing multiple candidates back for second interviews, even if none of them feel like a perfect fit at first glance. A second interview does not guarantee a hire. It is a deeper evaluation, a chance to test vision, leadership philosophy, and alignment with the organization's core values. For the Ravens, who have long emphasized stability and culture, those conversations matter just as much as scheme diagrams and statistical resumes. Fan reaction, of course, has been mixed. Some names inspire excitement, while others are met with skepticism or outright frustration. That response is understandable, especially for a fan base that expects to compete for championships every season. However, it is also important to recognize that initial reactions do not always align with long-term success. Many successful head coaches were questioned at the time of their hiring, only to prove their worth once given the opportunity and the right support system. Another factor that cannot be ignored is how the eventual hire will impact the rest of the coaching staff. A defensive-minded head coach likely means significant decisions on the offensive side, particularly regarding play calling and system design. An offensive-minded head coach brings similar questions about defensive leadership and continuity. Baltimore must think beyond the head coach title and envision how the entire staff will function together, especially with a roster built to contend right now. The Ravens front office appears keenly aware of this interconnectedness. Their willingness to explore both offensive and defensive candidates suggests they are not locked into a single philosophy. Instead, they seem focused on finding the right leader first, then building the structure around that person. This flexibility could prove crucial, especially as the league continues to evolve and offenses and defenses adjust to new trends each season. As the days pass, more clarity will come, but there is still plenty of uncertainty. Some candidates will inevitably fall out of contention, either by accepting other jobs or by failing to impress in interviews. Others may rise unexpectedly as conversations deepen and visions align. Baltimore's challenge is to remain disciplined, avoid reacting to outside noise, and trust the process they have put in place. What stands out most is that the Ravens are not rushing. They are gathering information, comparing philosophies, and evaluating how each candidate would handle the unique pressures of leading a team with championship expectations. This is not just about filling a vacancy. It is about choosing someone who can guide the franchise through the next phase of its competitive window, manage star players, develop young talent, and adapt to the constant changes of the modern NFL. And as this search continues to evolve, the next wave of interviews and decisions will likely reshape the conversation once again, especially when currently unavailable candidates enter the picture, and force Baltimore to reassess how everything fits together. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers are growing loud around Baltimore, and they all point in the same unsettling direction. Lamar Jackson, the face of the Ravens and one of the most influential quarterbacks in the league, is rumored to have delivered a firm internal message: involve me in the next major decision, or I will consider asking out. The demand, according to league insiders, is not about money or play calling, but power. Specifically, Jackson wants a voice in choosing the franchise's next head coach. Those close to the situation describe a tense atmosphere behind closed doors. The Ravens are seen as a traditionally disciplined organization, one where hierarchy matters and star players are expected to lead on the field, not in the boardroom. Jackson's alleged stance challenges that culture directly. For some executives, this is being interpreted as a red line. For others, it is the inevitable evolution of a modern NFL superstar who understands his value far beyond statistics. The quarterback's camp is said to believe that the next coaching hire will define the remainder of his prime. A wrong choice could mean wasted years, stalled schemes, and another cycle of reinvention. From that perspective, Jackson's pressure is less a threat and more a warning. He wants alignment, trust, and a system built around his strengths, not one imposed without consultation. Around the league, rival teams are quietly paying attention. A franchise quarterback even hinting at a trade request can change market dynamics overnight. Agents, scouts, and general managers are all reportedly watching how Baltimore responds. Will the Ravens bend and set a precedent, or will they call the bluff of their star for now? Nothing is official, but the sense of crisis is real. The Ravens stand at a crossroads, caught between protecting their organizational identity and keeping their most valuable asset. Satisfied if the rumors hold true, the next decision may determine not just the coaching future, but the fate of the entire franchise. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.